Good morning and welcome to Be the Salt. Listen, what do we do if we're the kind of person who likes to have things go our way, or we like to have our hands in everything and we like to have things, again, go our way, just be in control? Well, what do you do when things are out of your hands? What do you do when things are out of your control? The only thing that we can do as children of God, the only really thing we should do is to just continue to put things in God's hands and trust that God is going to do what is best for us. He loves us more than we love ourselves. He knows what's best. He can see around the corner and he can see around the bend. Believe it or not, he can see on down the road and he knows what direction and which path that we should be taking. But it's up to us to pray and it's up to us to listen. But most importantly, it's up to us to take our hands out of it. What do we do when things are not in our hands? It's out of our control. We must put Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 into action. We must trust God with all our hearts and lean not to our own understanding. We don't know everything. We can't see everything. But we must acknowledge him in all of our ways, and he will direct our path. That is a promise if we just put our trust in him and forget about what we think. Forget about really sometimes how we feel. When things are not in our hands, when things cannot be in our control, we must trust God to do. Now, remember, I told you guys that I lost my mom May 31st, and I hardly ever remember dates. Anybody that knows me, I don't remember dates, but I can remember places and faces and things like that. But this blanket belonged to my mother, and my son got it. But at the time, I had nothing. Like, I had nothing that reminded me of my mom until my school gave me some chimes. And so whenever I hear the wind blowing and see the wind blowing and hear the chimes, I just think about my mom. Well, yesterday, on a visit to visit my son, me and my husband went to visit our oldest boy, and after, we hugged and all of that, he gave me this blanket. He said, I've been saving this for you. He said, I want you to have it because I know that there are times when you want this and you need this. And I grabbed it and I just cried it. I stayed in it and I've been in it since I've gotten it. And it's just a warm feeling. It was out of my control, but I trusted God that eventually something would come my way. And lo and behold, I've got my mother's blanket off of her bed. So when things are not in our control, it may not always feel okay, but you've got to find some peace with things and just, again, trust God to do what it is that needs to be done. All right? I just wanted to jump on really quick and encourage you to trust God when things are not in control, when things are not in your control, when things are not in your hands. Trust God. Take your hands out of it. Take your hands out of it and say, God, your will be done. All right? Go share this clip, share the scripture, share everything that you know about Jesus Christ. Give people the true good news. Don't intermingle it with the world. Again, I am one to say, don't compromise anything that is of God just to appease anyone. Always remember, you're an audience of one. There is an audience of one, and he sits high, and he truly does look low. All right? So go and be the salt. And remember, when things are not in our hands, when things are not in our control, we must trust God. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.